So welcome everyone to our fourth and final speaker session of the week. Wisconsin DECA is just beyond excited to have Jake Kelfer here with us today. Arushi, do you want to talk a little bit more about Jake?
Yeah, of course. So Jake is a lifestyle entrepreneur and the best-selling author of Elevate Beyond and Elevate Your Network. He's a high-energy motivational speaker on a mission to inspire and elevate millions of people to achieve personal success and happiness.
He's the founder of the Professional Basketball Combine, which helps NBA draft prospects turn their dreams of playing pro basketball into their reality. He and his work have been featured on Forbes, Sports Illustrated, and ESPN, NBC Sports, USA Today, Bleacher Report, and many other major media outlets. We are so lucky to have him here with us today. Without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Jake.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for that introduction. You make me feel special. I appreciate y'all. But this is awesome. Look, I'm excited to be here. Throughout today, if you guys have questions or anything, I know we're going to do a Q&A in just a little bit, but if you have questions or anything, just put them in the chat box, put them in the Q&A box. We'll be answering those. I'll be talking with the state officers about everything, but happy Friday. Let's get this party started. Let's get this thing rolling. And as they mentioned, my name is Jake Kelfer, and I've been to Wisconsin now 2 times. Both times have been incredible. And I'm excited to share a little bit of a story today, because I know that you didn't expect to have this conference virtually, doing it digitally, but here we are. And I think that sometimes we get in this mindset that different is not good. But in reality, sometimes we have to just understand and say different is just different. And the perspective that we have on various situations, the perspectives that we have on this particular situation can really go a long way in how we go about adjusting, how we go about living, and how we go about enjoying our life. Because even in all types of adversity, we can choose how we act, how we think, and what we choose to do moving forward in terms of our response to these situations. And that brings me to the story that I really wanted to share with you guys today, because it actually happens to be the 4-year anniversary of my first book called Elevate Beyond, which is right here. And I wanted to just tell you the story of how this book came to be, because I was graduating from college. I was at the University of Southern California. And when I was getting ready to graduate from college, the job that I thought I was going to get, I wanted to be a sports agent. I wanted to make all types of money. I wanted to rep NBA players. I wanted to do the whole shebang. But right before I was getting ready to graduate, the company that I was going to work for fell apart, and they couldn't hire me. They went on a hiring freeze. And basically I scrambled to find something else. And I just got pretty lucky that the Los Angeles Lakers were hiring for a corporate partnerships assistant. So I took this job to work for the Los Angeles Lakers, which, by the way, is like my favorite sports team ever. And while I was working there, it was an incredible experience. There was a lot of incredible opportunities for me to pick all the contestants for all the contests at halftime. And there was a great opportunity to network and build relationships with key people in the sports industry. But every day I would come home from work and I had this feeling that I wanted to do more. I was in what seemed to be a great situation, but I wanted to do more. And so I asked myself 2 questions. And these 2 questions are, what do I know and how can I help people? And if you're ever feeling stuck, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, if you're ever feeling that you want to do something more, but there's just something holding you back, ask yourself those 2 questions. What do I know and how can I help people? And to be honest, when I asked those questions, I had no idea that 4.5 years later, I'd be sitting on this Zoom call with you guys, telling you this story of how I've ended up writing 2 books, traveled all over the world, and started a huge NBA event. But the story goes like this. I started to think, what did I know? And what I really knew, to be honest, was how to network, how to interview, how to connect with people. And I was like, oh, my brothers in college, all my fraternity friends, they're all going to want to know how to get a job and how to save money so they can have more fun. And I set out to write blog posts. Well, nobody wanted to read blog posts and nobody read them. And I was kind of feeling this doubt of why put all this effort in if no one's going to read it? And then I just happened to meet with a mentor of mine who's a professor at UCLA. And he told me, he said, Jake, this is actually really good content. Like I would give this to my students if it was in a different format. Maybe make this a book. And I said, a book? I'm 22 years old at the time. And he goes, so? And he said, can you write a book? And I said, challenge accepted. And over the next 6 months, I would drive to the office that the Lakers worked at. And in my car from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. before I'd go in and the offices would open, I would write in my car. I would combine all the experiences that I had, all the job advice that I've learned, combined with all these experiences from all these incredible people, because I knew I needed to get some credibility, only being less than a year removed from college. And what happened was it came together. I ended up writing a book, and I knew that the Lakers weren't going to make it to the playoffs. And I was like, okay, well, if the Lakers aren't going to make it to the playoffs, that means Kobe Bryant's going to retire at the end of April, which also means that I'm going to retire at the end of April. So on May 1st, 2016, Kobe Bryant had officially been done with the NBA, and Elevate Beyond was introduced to the world and became an Amazon bestseller on the first day. Now, the reason I tell you this story and the way I've positioned it this way is because there are going to be times in your life where you may be in a great situation, or you may be in a situation where you have no idea what to do next. Your life may be turned upside down. We may go through a global pandemic. We may have no idea what's going to happen in the next week, the next month. But when this type of thing happens to us, there's always that feeling inside of us that's going to itch for more, that's going to itch to achieve something. And when you can channel that desire into action, into ideas, into collaboration, into doing something that's greater than just yourself, well, I promise you, you're going to be able to achieve some great things. You're going to be able to make some magical things happen. Look at the state officer team. You guys pulled off an incredible conference in such a short time, such a digital time. Like, we adjust, we adapt, we keep moving, we keep growing, we keep shaking, we keep baking. But that's what it's all about. And as we kind of come full circle, these last 4 years have been about something so much greater than just writing a book and building businesses. It's become about building a community. Building a community that helps people become the best version of themselves. And so when you're at school, whether it's with your classmates, whether it's with your DECA or with your DECA chapter, whether it's with your sports teams, always think about, what do you know and how can you help people? What can you do in this very, very moment that will not only help you become the best you can be, but that will help elevate others to becoming the best that they can be? Because when we can do those types of things, we can make the magic happen. And so that's a little message that I just wanted to share with you guys today. I want to answer any questions that you may have. I see we got the chat coming through. We got Dalton Green. We got a couple other people jumping in. So, feel free. Let's start opening up for some Q&A. I want to share a couple more stories as you guys ask questions. But this has been an incredible experience, and I'm blessed. And I got a little gift for you that I'll be giving at the end. So once I turn it back over to the state officer team, we'll move on from there.
All right, Jake. Oh, so you've written 2 books, but if someone was to write a book just about your life, what would it be called?
That's a great question. I think the book title, besides the obvious, which would be called just Elevate, I think it would be We is Greater Than Me. Because I believe, if we do it, we can do a little exercise in just a second here, but we is greater than me. And what that means is this mentality, right? Because do you have a we mentality, which is, are you focused on other people? Are you focused on what can we do for each other that's going to help us get to where we want to go, right? Or do you have a me mentality, which is centered around yourself, which is basically saying, what can you do for me? How can I use you to get to where I want to go? And here's the kicker, you guys. As ambitious individuals, which all of you are, right? You're watching this, you're on this conference, you're incredible, you're in DECA, like, you're ambitious, you want to do something. Well, a lot of times our ambition can get in the way of collaboration and connection because we see the end result and we have to do whatever it takes to get there. But I promise you, when you get to that end result and it's with other people and you've become better because of those people, it's a lot more fun than if you're there all by yourself. So great question, but I think We is Greater Than Me is just like one of the greatest, easiest sentences and equations possible. I'm also a math nerd, so I like the equation in there as well.
All right, and then question from Gina, who or what gives you the most inspiration?
who or what gives you the most inspiration, or gives me the most inspiration? I have probably two of my biggest heroes are my parents. I am so blessed to have a loving family, a mom and a dad, and a younger brother whom I treasure. I'm actually seeing them for the first time since quarantine started tomorrow, so I'm just super excited. But there's a reason my mom and my dad each give me inspiration, and I'll talk about my mom first because she is just a bundle of joy and just a light of happiness. And she taught me this invaluable lesson when I was growing up, because just like I mentioned, like, I'm ambitious and I want to achieve the most incredible things and have the most fun doing it. But she would text me all of the time because she knew how ambitious I am and where I want to go. And she would send me a text almost every day. And it would say, live in the moment and enjoy the journey. And that piece of advice at first was such a mom thing to say. But once I realized what that really meant, which is to enjoy the process while pursuing greatness, and I started to live with a sense of gratitude and appreciation, a sense of enjoying the little wins along the way to achieving my goals, everything started to make sense. I started to have more success. I started to have more fun. Everything became about elevating everything that I did, and it was such a great time. So my mom, that's the greatest piece of advice and something that I live by now. And then my dad had talked to me, and he gave me this piece of advice when I was writing my book, because there was a time right before the book came out where I was nervous. I was nervous that nobody was going to read it because I was a first-time author. I didn't have a huge Instagram following. I honestly had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, I want to write the book. And my dad told me this. He said this, and this quote is unbelievable. The only shortcut in life is to start now. And when he told me that, it just clicked, because what it means is that we all seek this shortcut to achieve success, to get to a goal, to achieve something. And in reality, the only way we're ever going to get to accomplish anything is if we start now. And he's like, Jake, I don't know if you're going to sell 5 books or 5 million books. But what I do know is that if you start now and you publish this book and you commit to doing the very best that you can with the information that you have right now, I promise you good things are going to happen. Well, look where we are 4 years later. I'd say some pretty good things happen, and we've been able to meet some pretty incredible people. So those my parents are probably my biggest inspiration right now.
All right, thank you. That's amazing. We actually have a question from Nate Jacobs. He said, in your time networking with Wisconsin DECA and DECA as a whole, what is one thing you've learned from this organization?
I think, first of all, you guys have introduced me to Culver's, which I made an Instagram post about the other day. That's a great place. But really though, what I've learned, and I've been fortunate to spend some time with you guys, and you guys check it out. I got my Wisconsin DECA water bottle that stays with me everywhere. And but what I've really learned from you guys is that you all have such an incredible passion to achieve something bigger than yourself. And that's what I was talking about with this we is greater than me is whenever I get to interact with you guys are always looking to ask questions to better yourself. And it reminds me that it doesn't matter how old we are. What matters is that we always are open to learning new things, to being respectful and kind to other people. And you guys embody that as an organization so well. And it's something that every time I interact with you, I always feel refreshed because you guys give me that joy, that feeling that I matter. And that's something that we all really strive for to find in life with the people that we surround ourselves with. So kudos to all of you in Wisconsin DECA.
All right. And then for our next question, we have Dalton Green asking, when were you most starstruck in life and who was it?
I think I don't really get starstruck that often because I try to remind myself that we're all just people. But my favorite basketball player in the world is Magic Johnson. And when I was in college, I actually ran into him at the mall. I was at the mall. We were getting some shoes. And we ran into Magic Johnson. And I was like, guys, this is Magic Johnson. I need to go talk to him. And right in that moment, I don't know why, but I tend to do this with people that I look up to, is I just went up to him and I was like, Magic, what's up, man? You're my favorite player. Can we get a pic? And this was before I had really worked in the sports industry and understood like how pictures and everything worked. But I didn't care. I was just a fan at this time. So I jumped up. We got a picture with Magic. We had this person take it for us. And we were all a little bit nervous. The person took the photo of us. And right after he took the photo, of course, he was like, check it to see if it's good. And we're like, oh, it's great. It's great, because I just wanted to keep talking to Magic. Well, it turns out that photo was the worst photo that anybody's ever taken in a spontaneous photo shoot. So I literally looked at the photo and you couldn't even tell who was in it. But Magic Johnson, when the first time I met him in the mall, it was random. I wasn't prepared, and it was one of those things that's just a hilarious experience, especially because of how bad that photo turned out to be.
Well, that sounds fun. I know probably working in the basketball industry, you've got a chance to meet a lot of people who, a lot of people would be jealous. I know I'd be a little jealous meeting all those people, but we kind of have a funny question. So we know you're all about elevating, but if you couldn't use that word as your motto, what other slogan or word would you choose?
I think, and this is something that I've kind of actually been thinking about recently, is what pairs well with that. And so I think what the newest one that I'm going to be going with is take flight. And it's a play on of words. So the reason I kind of am vibing with it right now is because Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, his documentary is kind of coming out on ESPN, and he takes flight. When he jumps from the free throw line, he dunks and he soars, he's taking flight. Like, we're lifting off. But also when you are thinking of taking flight, you're thinking of an airplane, right? And my whole thing in life is you got to get out of the passenger seat and into the cockpit. You got to get off the bench and got to get into the game. So take flight kind of plays on that elevation, like that ascending to being the best version of yourself. But it also combines that sports metaphor, and it's been something that I've been playing with. So that's, I guess, would be the answer that I have as of today during this call.
All right, another question. If somebody played you in a movie, who would it be?
Whew. That's a good question. You guys are doing a great job, by the way. These are fun answering questions. So if someone played me, so I pick an actor, right? That's how this question works. I would honestly love to say that I would love to play myself. I'd love to self-act in a movie. I think being on TV screen and being in a movie would be absolutely incredible. But if I couldn't play myself, I think I'd love to have Adam Sandler play me. I think Adam Sandler is absolutely hilarious. He's got a good jump shot. He's funny. And, I've met him a couple times, and he seems like he would be a great Jake Helfer.
So I know you've probably had some downtime during this quarantine. What have you been doing to stay busy, and what do you kind of advise people to do during this quarantine to kind of keep themselves motivated?
Okay, now we're getting back to the serious questions. All right, there we go. No, but this is a great question, and it's, what do you do to stay motivated during this time? Well, I think the first thing that we all need to do is realize that we're going to be going through ups and downs, because we're constantly making adjustments. We're reevaluating our routines. We're still getting into new routines. And then every day something else is changing. So the first thing is to understand that change is happening all around, and you're not alone in any of this. And because you're not alone in any of this, sometimes we have what's called right now social distancing, but really just physical distancing, because we're really being as social as we always are, just not in person, right? And I know for me, like, once we started this, there was so much time for me to connect with other people, rekindle friendships, focus on doing things that really were important to me. And so what I'd say for everyone is to, one, realize change is happening. Everyone's going through it. You're not alone. Two, in order to stay motivated, I would go back to these questions that I would ask yourself is what do you define success as right now? If you were to be determined successful in quarantine in your life in this very moment, what would that look like to you? What would that look like to you in terms of your relationships? What would it look like to you in terms of your schoolwork? What would it look like to you in terms of, your employment, right? Like, are you trying to start a side hustle? Are you trying to build out a college application? Like, what are you doing for your future? What are your fitness goals, right? And I would kind of just evaluate, what would success look like to you? And I'm not gonna lie, for me, part of success right now is sitting and watching Netflix. It's taking a break and allowing myself to relax, even though I'm working just as hard, if not harder in some aspects, as we promote a huge summit that we have going on and all these things. But it's really just finding what really drives you and what you would feel as successful, and then taking those actions to be the best that you can in these moments. But in terms of staying motivated, it's, I'd really just say, keep your thoughts as positive as you can. Acknowledge that you're going through a tough time and things can be challenging, and that's okay. But try to keep your thoughts positive. Always remember you can control how you respond. Always remember you can tell someone you appreciate them. And if you continue to focus on doing these things that are kind, that are positive, well, you're internally going to start having small wins. And when you have small wins every single day, it's going to start to build momentum. When you start to build momentum, you're going to want to keep winning. And when you keep winning, you're going to start to play for some championships. When you play for some championships, you're going to win some championships and you're going to become an MVP of your own life. And that's when we get to have a little bit of fun. So staying motivated, that's kind of what I would say right now. But don't be afraid to acknowledge what's going on. Do things you wouldn't normally do. And try to find ways to have a little bit of fun in this new world that we're living in right now.
All right, so the next question comes from Dalton asking, what has been your favorite part of putting together the Elevation?
My favorite part of the Elevation Summit. So for anyone that's tuning in, the Elevation Summit basically is a virtual conference that we put together that features 35 incredible entrepreneurs and go-getters and people. And the whole point of us starting this was because I wanted to create an outlet for people to come to be motivated during quarantine, right? Just like that last question is, how do we give inspiration? What are some advices in starting a business? How do you be entrepreneurial, even in a time where there's a lot of adversity and we're unsure of the future? But the Elevation Summit has just been, honestly, an incredible experience. We've been able to connect with people all across the globe, all over different industries. And it's just been an experience where I've realized that even though we're apart from each other in a physical sense, we can become just as close, if not closer, through a digital sense. And it's really focused and taught me how to communicate better, how to be more straightforward through digital communication. Because when you think about it, how many times have you read a text or gotten an email or seen someone Snapchat and you read it and interpret it completely incorrectly? Like you totally think they're saying it one way, but they're really saying it the other way. And so this time, honestly, with the summit and with everything going on, I've really tried to understand that in order for people to be clear in what we're saying, we have to really just tell people how we feel and what we're doing. So I'd say that's been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned and one of the most fun things that's been part of the summit, which has just been an incredible experience for us and our team.
Jake, so we know that you're all about kind of elevating your network. What is your biggest tip for DECA members and just people like that want to build relationships, especially in a time where we can't see each other?
I have so many different things that I want to share with you guys, but I would say this. I would say first is identify. Look, if you want to build relationships, the first question you got to ask is, who do you want to build relationships with, right? Because if you don't know who you want to talk to, you could just reach out to everybody, but who is that going to benefit? So I'd really say the first thing to do is identify who do you want to build relationships with and why do you want to build a relationship with them? You know, if you're interested in sports, if you're interested in career, if you're interested in networking, if you're interested in all these things, well, you should reach out to me. That's great. And anybody that wants to, let's set up a time to chat. Let's hang out. But what I think is really important is one, figure out who do you want to connect with and why do you want to connect with them? That's going to give you a reason to take the action of actually reaching out to them. But then what I'd also say, and this is one of the most important pieces of relationships building, is asking good questions and showing a genuine interest in other people. A lot of times we will reach out to different people and we'll just say whatever comes to mind, but the best answers come from the best questions. And a lot of times we think, oh, if I ask this question, I'll get the answer I want. Sometimes if you ask the right question, you'll get the answer you need. And that is something so pivotal when you start to build relationships because it adds depth. It shows that you care. It allows someone to know that you're thinking of them, that you've done your research, that you really are invested in building this relationship. So those are a few of the things that I would say when it comes to building relationships during this time. And don't be afraid to go for it. Shooters shoot. Let it fly. Reach out to whomever. People are responding a lot right now. I know I've been super responsive trying to get back to everybody. And I know people that I've always wanted to connect with are being more responsive now because our screen time's higher. So use this as an opportunity to give it a shot. Connect with your favorite YouTube person, your favorite TikTok star. Give it a shot and then keep following up. Do so in a respectful way, but don't give up if they don't respond right away. Hit them back in a week. Hit them back in 2 weeks, and let them know you're supporting them. Share their content. Do all these great things, and that's how people are gonna jump in, and you'll build some fun relationships and friendships.
All right, Jake. Now we're back to the fun questions. We're gonna kind of rapid fire them. So first off, do you have a hidden talent, and what is it?
Hidden talent. What is it? So rapid fire means I'm supposed to answer these really quickly, right?
Yes, well, not like, you don't have to do too quick, but we want to get a bunch in, so.
Okay, rapid fire, hidden talent. I grow facial hair extraordinarily quickly, and I'm a very good dribbler of a basketball, and I can do math questions and multiply any number times 11 faster than a calculator. It's probably my hidden talent.
If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
I had this discussion the other day, and I could not come to a consensus here. But I think flying is up there for sure, to be able to see perspective or to be able to talk to all animals. That would also be something that I find really fascinating because I think it would change the world.
If you could only have 3 apps on your phone, which ones would you pick?
The call app, because I think calling is very important, call or FaceTime. Instagram, it's one of my favorite apps right now. And Evernote. Evernote is how I collect all my thoughts and write down my notes, which keeps me organized and sane.
All right. So what trend do you hope makes a comeback soon?
What trend that I hope make a comeback soon? I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Crank That Soulja Boy became a popular TikTok dance here in the future. Yeah, we'll go with Crank That Soulja Boy. Is a great trend. Or bleached hair, spiked tips. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that would be absolutely hilarious in today's day.
All right, so we're going to add Gina's question into the rapid fire questions. What's your favorite book other than your own?
Favorite book is anything by John Gordon, but my favorite one by him is Training Camp, which is a story about a football player overcoming adversity on his way to making the NFL.
What's one hobby that you'd love to get into?
Say that again?
What's one hobby that you'd love to pick up or get into?
I'd love to become a better hip hop dancer.
Yeah, that and Soulja Boy. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
What's one item you can't leave your house or apartment without?
I mean, my phone is always on me. So I'd say that. I'll go with phone. It's always on me.
And what's one item you want to own that you don't?
What's one item that I want to own? A magic wand that works would be awesome. Or someone with a helicopter. I wouldn't be opposed to having my own plane to transport all my friends and have just awesome airplane parties.
What's one song or artist that you're embarrassed to admit that you like?
I mean, there's so many, but I'm not embarrassed about any of them. But I'm a huge sucker for top 40 hits. So anything on there, I'm your guy.
What is your favorite TV show?
I just watched just Call Me Maybe or Party in the USA. Both of those definitely came to my mind when that question was asked. My favorite TV show, that's most recently, it was Outer Banks on Netflix. Absolutely loved it. It was so great.
Yeah, I think half of us are watching that right now. So
I just finished that like right before we went on this. So
I won't spoil anything then, I promise.
it's really good.
All right, and our last question is, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Don't Stop Believing, because everybody can sing it, everybody knows the words, and if I get a second chance, I'll do All Star by Smash Mouth as a little throwback, but just I'm big in karaoke is to get everyone else singing so they don't hear my voice only.
All right, perfect, Jake. That is the end of our rapid fire questions. So thank you for participating. Is there any last or final thoughts that you would like to say to our audience before we end our call today?
Yeah, I have two final thoughts. The first one is you guys are awesome. You guys did a great job today. And anyone that's listening, I appreciate you more than you know that you gave your time to come here to get elevated and to have a little bit of fun with us. And then the second thing is you guys and anybody that's listening at any point in time, I'd love to give you guys a little token of my gratitude is a free copy, a Kindle copy of my book, Elevate Your Network. So all you have to do if you want to get a copy of that is to follow me on Instagram at Jake Kelfer and send me a direct message saying you heard me with Wisconsin DECA and your email address. And I'll make sure our team sends you a Kindle copy of the book, Elevate Your Network, free of charge as a little thank you for being awesome and wanting to continue to learn and get better.
Awesome. We definitely appreciate that. And I know the entire officer team is definitely going to take you up on that. And I hope everyone watching does as well. Jake is a super awesome leader and he has a lot of awesome things I know in his book. So definitely take him up on that. And I just want to thank everyone who's on our Zoom, but also who's live streaming on Facebook. We really appreciate you guys coming out and listening to Jake. And we want to give a special thanks to Jake for being here with us today. We really super appreciate it, especially with everything you have going on with your Elevation Summit, which has been super awesome. So I guess that is the end of our speaker session. Thank you guys all for coming.
Appreciate you guys.